Welcome to WYLN Sports. I am Eric DeBaradinis. I am joined by 2016 World Series champion, Chicago Cubs manager, Hazleton native, Joe Maddon. Congratulations on not sucking.
Thank you. We did not suck this year. That was the eventual. I didn't even design that. After we did try not to suck all year, after we had won, the next day they put out we did not suck. And if I told you how many sold within 48 hours, it's staggering. We made so much money on those T-shirts this year. It all goes to the Respect 90 Foundation. It's pretty incredible.
Absolutely. So 43 days since Game 7 of the World Series.
Wow. 43.
43.
Wow.
But kind of a lifetime achievement. What's the overwhelming emotion when you kind of think of the magnitude from East 11th Street to a parade in front of a couple million fans?
Yeah, I don't think I've really absorbed it all yet. I haven't. What I've been saying to a lot of folks, and I think this may be true, I want to go to the cemetery and see my pop while I'm in town. And I think maybe at that point I might be able to figure it all out. When you're in the moment like that, and I'm pretty good at staying in the moment, you don't have time to process it all. And I know it's 40-some days since, but I don't just dwell on that. I've actually spent more time thinking about next year than I have thinking about last year. I will concede this, though. The 108 years is pretty significant. I've thought about that. When you run into people that are lifelong fans and have had relatives that have passed, I think about that. I think about the international component of our organization and the kind of impact we had for Major League Baseball. That's the part that's really intriguing to me, because we're at a point now where you're looking to create more fans, create more interest in the game. And I've said it all year, I think our group combination of skill and the authenticity of our group should attract the average or even the non-average fan, people that are trying to jump on board. So those are the kind of things I've wrapped my mind around a little bit, but the entire magnitude, I've not even gotten near that yet. The parade was staggering. You
mentioned your dad. The rain delay allowed you to go get his Angels cap from the clubhouse. Your mom had a little bit of trouble getting to Game 3, but she made it. What did it mean to have her there, the hat, a piece of Hazleton and a piece of home during the World Series?
Yeah, it was just appropriate for Beanie to ride in the back of a cop car. I didn't realize, well, I did realize as the day was in progress, she was supposed to fly in from Philadelphia earlier. And that was the day that there was a problem at O'Hare with the plane on fire. So they kept pushing her flight back. She was there and didn't leave till like 6 o'clock. And I got word, and so we were trying to get a police escort to get her from O'Hare to the ballpark. That turned out to her being in the back seat of a police car with my nephew and niece, Michael and Christine. So that was a great story. She got there by the second inning, believe it or not. And yeah, having Beanie there, I know how important it is to her and to us as a family. We didn't win the game, I don't think, but nevertheless she was there. And just to be at Wrigley Field is phenomenal. To be there for a World Series game is even beyond that, obviously. So it was great to have Beanie there. My dad's hat, when that rain delay occurred, able to go upstairs, and I was just checking on the weather, and my bag was right there, so I grabbed the hat and stuffed it in the back, underneath my hoodie and the back of my belt, my pants. And believe me, I was touching it during that next inning. I was just kept tapping, "Let's go, buddy, let's go." And then eventually Schwarber knock, Almora tags up, Zobrist hit, eventually Miggy in the hole, and then we fought through the last inning there. So yeah, it's wonderful that they were there. My dad saw 2 World Series now. He passed away in 2002, but the Angels won with his hat in the dugout, and then the Cubs won in 2016 with his hat in the dugout.
I know you're not a big speech guy. Before the start of the season, after the All-Star break, before the playoffs, do you believe in speeches now? We've heard about Jason Hayward's speech.
Yeah.
A little more meaning now?
Yeah, no, I don't like to have team meetings. I'm anti-team meeting. I think that they've lost their luster a long time ago. If you have a football team and you have to have a meeting because you're playing once a week, that's different. If you have a basketball team that plays 2 or 3 games a week, that's different. Baseball, you play every night, and that's where it's different also. So I only like to talk to them in the beginning. I've had one other team meeting during the course of a season. In 2008 in Kansas City, we were on top in the latter part of the year with the Rays, and we won this game in Kansas City and played a very sloppy game. I didn't think the effort was right, so I freaked out after that game. And I liked the idea of a meeting after a win and a meeting on the road, so you don't contaminate your own clubhouse. So that's my thought process on team meetings. Jason, on the other hand, I'm okay with players having their own meetings.
Okay.
I like the peer component. So I was very pleased that he did that. I didn't, I'd heard about it as it was in progress. I thought, okay, this fine, that's good. So I think the combination of rain delay, whatever he said in that meeting, which I'm really not 100% sure of otherwise, than just getting the guys together. I know that it all turned out well. So those are really significant moments.
All right, so I know you're not probably in tune with baseball Twitter during the World Series. You were obviously a popular guy online during the World Series based on your decisions, what you were wearing, and what was in the Gatorade cup. So I'll ask you now, what was in the cup?
Hot water.
Hot water.
Yeah,
is that a go-to?
I normally drink hot tea during the game, and my stomach's starting to bother me. I think I was drinking too much tea, and then you can't sleep at night. So the one day I just decided, let me just try some hot water, and God, it just worked. So probably the latter part maybe of San Francisco series, definitely LA and the World Series, that is hot water. I have a thermos on the bench. I want it as hot as they could possibly get it out there, because it could always cool off, but it can't get hotter.
There's lots of conspiracy theories about that, so I'm glad that we...
Hot water, folks. That's all. I've really curtailed my adult beverage drinking. I've not even drunk that much wine lately. I like a Corona Light on occasion now, but for the most part, I'm very docile when it comes to alcoholic beverages.
You respect 90, you respect the history of the game, you have a different perspective because you were in it, but a lot of people saying Game 7, greatest game ever.
Yeah,
do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would imagine from a fan's perspective, I would have liked it a lot better had they not hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of eighth. But no, as it turned out, everything happens for a reason. Again, we just talked about getting fans or kids more involved in the game. If that's what draws you back in, great. It probably was. When you're participating in it, you don't necessarily think about those kind of components, but retrospectively, obviously, it had to be considered that. I know the whole series, people really enjoyed the entire series. I think they enjoyed the entire playoff run. We had a tough series against San Francisco, had a tough series. We had to run the gauntlet to get to that game. So if it's perceived to be that, I'll take it. I know there's been a lot of wonderful World Series games historically, but if we're considered among the best, I'll take it.
So you said you're shifting focus, we'll shift focus. The Cubs now with the shortest World Series drought in the MLB.
Yeah, how about it?
How about that? But once again, the favorites in 2017. How are you going to embrace the opportunity to go for a repeat? We know you're a slogan guy. What's the slogan going to be for next year?
Last year we were it all year, between even the previous off season, about being favored in going into the 2016 season. I was sitting in the winter meetings. They would do this scrum with all the baseball writers. They would just gather around. That happens every year. And I was pressed on that subject, and I just thought we need to embrace the target. And that's where that was very organic. And so from that, then Try Not to Suck was born out of that. The Process is Fearless. All these different things were born out of that moment last year. And because I really think that the word pressure is a good word. I think the word expectations is a good word. So going to next season, we're going to be faced with the same issues. And I'm really proud of our guys from going from wire to wire with that kind of thought attached to us and really not blinking. That's pretty significant. People don't even talk about that. I don't think that when they talk about it, they don't understand how significant it is that our young, and I mean young, inexperienced players carried that thought all year and did so well. Now going into this season, I'll give you this much. Couple things that I've read about, for example, the Mariners when they won 116 games and then the next year were more pedestrian, even though they didn't win the World Series. The biggest difference in those two teams seems to have been defense. And that's the one thing that we thrive on. So I was thinking about depeat, something like that, as opposed to repeat. We have to get the defense to understand that we have to play on the same level that we played last year, and possibly even better if that's possible, because if you watch this, we were spectacular on defense. Everybody wants to hit. We got to pitch, but I think the pitching and defense are synonymous terms. So right now, I think my major focus for next spring training would be to convince our guys, which would not take a whole lot because our guys are great, defense. So if we could, as opposed to repeating, I want to depeat.
whatever the slogan is, we know that's going to be good. We know the Cubs are going to be good. So a guy that probably doesn't have to buy a shot and a beer the Hazleton way here or in Chicago ever again. Joe Maddon, congratulations once again. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Best of luck in 2017,
Thank
going
you,
for that repeat.
Always good to be back home. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it very much. Merry Christmas.